Hey everyone, your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home.
We have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today. So let's get started.
This is episode 211, the best decorating ideas for renters. And the show notes for today's episode can be found at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/211.
Ideas for renters.
Well, can I start this off? If you don't
Okay.
mind. Okay. I just think before, let's say you're looking to rent, because I think now more than ever, people are deciding to rent rather than buy. And I have firsthand experience, well, secondhand. Our son and his family recently moved from a house locally to Washington, D.C., where they're renting a townhouse. And there's just some things that you have to be careful with when you're thinking about renting. You know, you want to make sure that the walls are in good shape and that you have good carpeting on the floor, hardwood floors. You want to make sure that, your kitchen is functioning well as your bathroom. So those are some things to really pay attention to before you move in. So I know some renters have already moved in and now they're going like, what do I do? But I'm just saying, for those who are thinking about renting or looking for a place to rent, I know that as you get the upgrades, the price goes up. But if you're planning to fix a house, it's easier to sometimes move into a house that's already a rented home or an apartment that's already been upgraded, because some of the fixes do cost a little bit of money. And we're going to tell you about things that do cost a little more and things that don't. So that's just a little cautionary tale.
Right. And I would add to this that these are tips, decorating tips for renters. But, these are a lot of things that homeowners can use as well. I mean, I think we're ruling out things that renters would not be able to do, the expensive changes to the house or apartment. But if you have a house or if you're an owner, then hopefully you'll still get something out of today's episode.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
for sure. And, especially if it's a house where you think, well, this is my starter house, or, I move for my job a lot. I'm not going to be here for 10 years. I might be here for 2 years, something like that. So you don't want to invest a whole lot into a home that you really can foretell already that you're not going to be in for a long time.
Right.
Definitely applies. And also the summer renters. And particularly when we lived in New York and people were renting out in the Hamptons or they were renting in upstate New York for the summertime, people would sometimes get a house and, you want to, if you were maybe pitching in with a group of people and sharing weekends or something like that, you were just going to do some cosmetic things, if anything at all. Maybe you don't even unpack your bag completely, but if you're doing a summer rental with a family, you might want to try to make it your own a little bit while you're there. So my overall thought on this is don't perch, nest, make it your own, even though it's a rental, right? And add your personal style. Because no matter how long you're living in a place, if it's a weekend, if it's a year, if it's 2 years, you don't want to be living in boxes, and you don't want to be living in a place that doesn't make you feel good and nurture your soul. So don't perch, nest.
I like that very much. And how much you nest really is in proportion to how long you're going to be there. If you're going to be there 6 months, you can do a few cosmetic things, but you're not going to replace fixtures and other things like that. You'll just probably pretty it up enough that it'll look nice until you move. And here's the other idea: when you're thinking of these ideas, and if we're as we go through it, if we're going to say, well, get this or get that, make sure you get something that you can take with you when you're done renting and enjoy in another home. Don't just buy something just for now, because that's like throwing money out the window.
Yeah. Don't cheap down.
Yes.
If it's something you can take with you, so get the nicer quality and something you love, because then you can translate that into your next house or apartment.
Okay. Well, I've got our first idea.
Okay.
Throw it out there. Okay. And it is to change out the cabinet pulls.
Oh.
Change out the cabinet what?
Cabinet pulls, the
oh,
hardware.
Good.
But here's the thing. that I'm thinking, I mean, you might be saying, but that's permanent to the house. Well, it's not really permanent. You could change them out. Sometimes you can get some very inexpensive cabinet pulls or knobs. And kind of, if you really hate what's there, you could change them out. And then when you move out, you just put the old ones back. You take those new pulls and knobs with you, and there should be enough that you'd be able to use them in one room if you bought later.
Anita,
they would probably work in a room. Mm-hmm.
I think that is such a good tip. But here's the other thing you said that I think it's so important. Everything that you replace, you want to save.
Yeah.
So you can put it back and take your nice stuff with you. Let's say you replace cabinet pulls. Maybe in your new house, you've got way more cabinets and need more pulls, but I bet you have bathrooms that they would fit on. The cabinets in the bathroom. And here's another thing. I'm going to piggyback off of that. And I'm going to say, if you have outdated cabinetry, now, obviously you want to check everything out with your landlord. You don't want to get stuck with losing your security deposit or even a bill on top of that. You can take outdated cabinetry, and I didn't know about this, and I just read about this, and you could actually replace the cabinet fronts.
Oh, refacing. Yes.
Well,
yes.
Not refacing. You're just going to replace the entire front, because most,
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But that's pretty expensive.
Well, you just do the fronts. And sometimes you can go to these places that are like unfinished woods that have all of this. Just paint. You can paint them. That's not expensive. And that, and they are on European hinges as well. So you can take them with you. The other thing you can do, if your landlord says so, that you can't, is to paint your cabinetry.
Mm-hmm. And that's true. If you've got permission.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing I really love is you can use repositional wallpaper and really get some beautiful effects and put that on your cabinets as well.
Yeah, you had that idea about doing that on a fridge once.
Well, that's another one of mine. If you have an old yucky fridge, oh my goodness, I've seen such adorable, and I mean, your fridge then becomes a focal point if you use some really cool repositional wallpaper. And it's not that expensive. And I also found this out. You can buy stainless steel repositional wallpaper now.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you got to put that in the show notes because that's really interesting. Okay. Yeah. Caveat for all these things. Definitely just don't say, well, the DTT girls told me I could. You gotta, here comes my lawyer hat. You want to read your contract. And if you don't have a landlord that you can just pick up the phone and call or send an email to, find out the management company and double check. And if you're at all uncertain, please make that call, send that email, and make sure that you can do what you want to do, because the last thing you want to do is get in trouble and then you lose your security deposit, or you end up doing damage to the wall because you were doing something else. And then, and then it opens up a can of worms that you didn't want to open. So definitely check all of that. So read the fine print, check it out. But there are so many easy ideas and, on differing levels, but some really, really inexpensive ideas. How about, most apartments don't have a ton of storage. Condominiums, maybe the same thing. If you're renting a house, you might have enough storage for yourself, but buy some really good looking, not cheapo, need to assemble it made of particle board. Make a little bit of investment in some nice removable storage that then you can take with you, and you can put that in, and leave it in a place that's visible, or you can use it in a closet. But that is a really nice way to sort of make custom cabinetry where there might not be any, but yet you can still take it with you when you leave. And
Kelly, that's exactly what my kids did. They have a small kitchen, but they did not have a lot of cabinet space because they have bottom cabinets and then countertop that acts almost like a peninsula. So they bought these really cool stainless steel, racks that are shelves, and they put all kinds of they put really cool, some of their kitchen things on it. And it looks so nice. It just works so well with that kitchen. But I'm going to give you my number one very favorite thing to do, and that is paint. Paint your walls.
Yes. Yeah, well, definitely. Yes.
You got to check
permission.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And if preferably, like my son and his family did before they moved in. which
Yeah, we
makes
did
it
that, or I
so
should say,
easy.
I did that years ago when I had one of my first apartments. Actually, my mom did it, and she painted it peach for me. And we
Aw.
had to, I came back from
Good
like a
mom.
long day at law school, and my mom had painted my room peach. And guess what
Aw.
color it was? The color I don't really like. It was blue.
Blue.
My mom painted peach over blue. Can you imagine how long that took? And
Back in the day.
yeah. And we hadn't really checked because we just were like, it'll look so much better this way. All right.
Oh, boy.
So when the landlord then saw it at some point, and we did have to paint it blue back. But I lived there for a couple of years during law school, and the peach made me happier. And, my mom and I painted it back blue. So sometimes you can just get away with doing it. And if you promise to paint it back to the color that they had it, because that's the color their maintenance team has and uses, and they don't want to have custom colors in various apartments, and if you don't mind making the effort, usually if you promise to paint it back, they'll let you do it.
Well, here's another idea of something that you can take with you are some pre-made curtain panels. And so I don't mean
Yes.
custom made to that particular height, but a lot of times we recommend that you, no matter really the size of the window, that you just hang the curtains as high as you can go. So, a lot of times you can just buy one set of curtains and they go from one window to another. And I've certainly, in our house, changed out the curtains in the dining room. And move the curtains from one room to another room without a problem. But a lot of times you can do that from one house to another.
I think that is such a smart idea. That's exactly right.
Well, and there's so many nice curtain panels you can buy now online that are a good quality. I mean, back in the day when we first had our first house, you had to have custom curtains made, or they
right?
really looked pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can get some quite nice ones. So,
Or
yeah,
you
so
can
just
make
do that.
them yourself. There's you can use drop cloths, or you can even linen now. And I'll be doing a post, I think sometime next week, making DIY non-sew curtains. And if you get enough fabric so it either kisses or puddles on the floor, you can take them with you and use them again. I have another. This is a really interesting. This is a little more high end for the DIYers. I was just doing a lot of research about this, and I think one of the biggest problems in your kitchen, besides your cabinetry and appliances, is like laminate countertops. And did you know IKEA has a butcher block that they sell that's very reasonable, and you literally, I saw this done, can put this butcher block right over your countertops. Now you'd have to know how to cut it out.
Really?
Yes.
And so they custom cut it for your kitchen?
You'd have to have that done. But I thought if you've got really bad countertops, that might be something, because then you can just take it with you.
Take your countertop with you?
And then cut it, just to have a great butcher block.
That's the interesting thing that you bring that up, because it's my understanding in Europe, a lot of times people, when they move, they take the kitchen with them.
Yeah. The kitchen doesn't come with the apartment. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when you see all these, the decorating channel, that you see when they do the ones that are looking for something abroad, the kitchen is just like this hole in the wall space with nothing in it.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just
Yeah.
kind of an empty spot. Yeah.
Here's something else I did. I got my daughter-in-law a big drum chandelier for their dining room table, because the one in their rental right now is really it was not clean and everything. It just wasn't her style. And and that was just a little over $100. And it was a nice big drum, and it looks really nice, and they'll take it with them to their next house. So that's a real easy fix. And that has a little bit of a wow element in it as well.
Well, yeah, changing up the lighting is really important. You guys know how I feel about lighting. I think we all agree. I'm so particular down to the fact that I really only want these pink bulbs. But
Yeah.
oftentimes when you rent an apartment, I would say most of the time it's not furnished. So you're going to be bringing some of your pieces there, but the lighting is usually terrible. I mean, that's almost a guarantee.
Yeah.
You're going to have overhead lighting that's probably not on dimmers. You could ask, hey, could I have a dimmer installed? Can I just switch the switch? Some of the landlords might be happy you're doing. You're actually increasing the value and making their apartment look better, but definitely consider changing out the light fixtures. As Yvonne said, you can take that with you. Just save the other one. If there's one of those really sort of dated, like a chandelier that just looks like, oh, that came from 1986, switch it out. Don't spray paint it because it's not yours, but just put the other one. Maybe you have a storage unit, or maybe you could put it in your parents' or your friend's garage or something like that. Just store it for a little while and put yours up, and with the intention of taking yours. Even if you say, well, when I get my real house, I'm going to want a bigger one. So get the bigger one, have it be a little bit oversized, but at least it's something that you love and it evokes your style rather than just what happens to have been hanging from the ceiling. And definitely add in, like we say in all our rooms, different sources of lighting. Do table lamps, do task lamps, have overhead, add as many different layers of lighting as possible.
And on dimmers if you can.
If you can, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
Okay, just getting back to the window treatments, my thought would be go bigger again. Like we're saying, even if it puddles, even hangs, even if you have to swag it up a little bit, because even if the next place you go to, you don't need that much length, you won't know that yet. You can always hem them when you get to a more permanent place, and you say, okay,
or
now
just hang them up a little higher.
Right. But if they're even super, super long for, hanging high, go with as long as possible. You know, if you have a choice between, you know, the 86 and the 120, go 120.
Right.
Make sure you got enough going on there. If you cut it off, Scarlett, you can always make a dress out of the rest of it, you know, or a pillow or something.
Well,
But you can't add to it unless you want to put a ruffle on it.
Yeah, unless you want to put a ruffle or a color block it or something.
Block, right. Mm-hmm.
It's harder to do that.
I think you're so on to something here, Kelly. The curtains soften so much in the room. They add so much character to a room. And when you're renting, you can't add crown molding or any of that stuff. But boy, if you can hang some nice curtains, those are really going to add to the room. And another thing I was just thinking about beyond the curtains that you could add to a room that would add so much character and some soundproofing if you're in an apartment is a large, gorgeous rug that you can take with you. And, you know, if we've said this before in previous episodes, but it's worth saying again if you missed it. If you can't afford the big, beautiful rug, buy a large sisal and then layer a patterned rug on top of it. But this is a great way to add interest to a room with the rug. And you can easily roll it up and take it with you.
I so agree, Anita. The only thing that I would say is if you have a high pile rug, that may be a hard call.
Well, I'm talking about on hardwood floors.
Yeah. And even a tightly woven rug, I think you can get away with putting another, like a sisal or something else over
a Berber.
that.
Yeah. I think a Berber.
Something like that. Yeah. Just that is make sure it's tight
and then
close
you can
to the
even
ground.
Well, and if you wanted, and the bigger the rug, I think the easier it is to get away with layering if you already have carpet in the room.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I would say even if you've got some crazy shag under there, put your own rug on top of it and then put another rug on top of it and layer because first I would have the rug professionally cleaned. One time in college, we rented an apartment at the end of the year before we left.
Do I want to know this?
Well, yeah, we came back and we were so excited because I had 7 other friends, so 8 of us, and we got apartments across the hall from each other. We were so excited. Let's just say it was not a high-end building, but you walked right in, and we opened both doors on either side of the hallway, and you could actually see the fleas jumping off.
No.
Yeah. I'll never forget that moment. So, yeah, and I'm sure, you know, all our listeners would be renting, you know, not college apartments, or maybe you are, but, you know, and if your college apartment is probably in a nicer building than mine was in those days. But I would have the carpet underneath cleaned professionally or ask for your landlord to have that done. And then you can layer your own rugs. And isn't it nice just if you're going to sit down or you're going to walk on your bare feet on your, you know, what you know is brand new carpeting. And hey, I was on a line searching for carpet choices for a client of mine over the weekend, and I could not believe the deals. We were looking in sort of the gray, ivory, kind of, you know, vintagey look feel. Oh my gosh, 8x10s under $200. Crazy. You know, you could go, you know, obviously you can go super high end. You could also go high enough in Pottery Barn and higher yet at Restoration Hardware, or you can go off the charts. But wow, there were some Wayfair, you know, Amazon, some really great choices under $200. So I think there's so many choices out there.
Well, then let me just segue into another place you can use a big sisal rug. Let's say you've got old tile in a bathroom or linoleum in a bathroom that you don't want. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the biggest sisal rug you can put in there. And because a sisal can take some wet and it will dry, but it also, I mean, if you overflow your tub, it's probably going to break down, but that's a nice neutral look for your floor. So you're going to get it as big as you can to fit it in the bathroom, and that'll cover a multitude of sins. And then if there's any tile, old tile that's on the shower, the tub area, just get a gorgeous shower curtain. Like that's where you want to spend a little bit of your money. Get something that's so awesome and beautiful. And those are 2 ways to hide ugly tile.
Yeah, good point. And remember we did that episode on the natural rugs, as the seagrass is probably a good choice too. If you can find seagrass that would work in the bathroom, because that is water repellent, as we remember, right? So that would be a good choice too. In addition to the sisal, or even the polypropylene sisals could be great in the bathroom.
Yeah. And that seagrass is awesome. We have it in our, under our kitchen table, and it's wonderful. Are we going to talk about the elephant in the room, girls?
What?
Ugly blinds.
Oh, yes.
So often rental apartments have dirty, bent, dusty, horizontal, or dare I say, vertical blinds.
Our first house had vertical blinds.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually a very funny vertical blind story. Do you want to hear it?
Yes,
I do.
Of course.
Okay. I didn't know we were going to get up to that, but I would have kicked off with the story because it's kind of funny. Okay, so it's like 1986 or 85. I think the vertical blind has hit its peak, and I was working at a restaurant. I was a hostess. I had to wear a colonial outfit with a long skirt. So here I am.
I would have paid to see that.
It had like a plastic. It had literally like a plastic collar. It was called the Milleridge Inn, and it had this old ye old Yankee theme going on. Yeah, so I had a long black skirt made of not linen, girls, this little polyester perhaps, and a waistcoat and a plastic collar with a bow tie.
Wow.
I mean, who could resist me, right? And
wow.
So there I am.
That's a look.
I was the head hostess, even though I was quite young. And I was at the podium, and it was a busy holiday. They used to have like hordes of families come for the holidays. So I think it was probably around Easter time. And this young man was there with his family. And literally, this was like the restaurant where people would come with their family, and they would have no problem waiting like an hour and a half, 2 hours for a table that they had reserved. It was just nuts. It was like an anthill at holidays. So
one of those
this young man was waiting for a long time. So at the end of his meal, I'm still there. I was working a double shift. It's still there. He asked me out on a date. I mean, I was passed out. I think sweating in a plastic collar is like something you've never experienced.
Can I stop you there? It must have been the outfit.
Oh yeah, it was so the outfit. Yeah. Well, how do you think I landed my husband? I had that outfit on. No. I retired that outfit after high school. I think I was a senior in high school. And yeah. So anyway, this boy asked me out, and he was a little bit older than me. I think he was like first year of college or something like that. And he had a car. So I had to convince my parents that it was like this strange boy. And now I went to all girls school, so every boy was strange, right? So we didn't really know anybody. So I convinced my parents that this was my first car date. So you're wondering how I'm going to get to vertical blinds. I know, but I'm going to get there. So we go out on this date. He takes me to see Chariots of Fire. Right. And that was fun. And we see the movie. And then he came and met my parents. And my mother they had bought a new house, and she was decorating, and don't hold this against her, but she wanted to do vertical blinds. So he says, oh, I don't know why she started talking about that. And, because we were moving, I guess. And she was hoping this relationship would go nowhere. She was telling him we're moving, right? And I was going away to college. So just forget about it, you with your car. Like, go away. So he says, oh my gosh, well, my brother installs vertical blinds. So, okay. So so I should say this is before we go to Chariots of Fire. So we go to Chariots of Fire. We come back fine. Nice. In the meantime, before the second date, my mother has contacted the brother and made this deal of a century for the vertical blinds. Now, because the guy is like, my brother helps me install these, the whole thing. Okay, so he takes me out on the second date, dial ahead. And I didn't really like him that much, but he had a car. So we go on a second date, and he takes me to Friendly's for dinner. And yes. First of all, I was like, oh, really? Okay. And then you guys, he showed me the check. He was like, whoa, big night out. And I thought, oh my goodness, like I can never go out with this person again. But my mother is having all these vertical blinds installed. So now, like so I just avoided him, told him, there was no internet or anything. He would call. I wouldn't answer the phone. I mean, just told him I didn't want to go out with him anymore. But thereafter, he and his brother were in my house, my new house, like a month later. For days, it seemed like months installing these vertical blinds. And my mother was so worried they were going to do a bad job because he was mad.
This sounds like an episode of Seinfeld.
It was so ridiculous.
For the pen,
and I would go, I couldn't call her on my cell phone or whatever. I have to drive in front of the house and see if their truck was still there. I didn't want to go inside.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Yeah.
Young love and vertical blinds. There you go.
But we still laugh about that. Like, she's like, what a deal. I'm like, yeah, but they were on vertical blinds, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
it was worth it for her, not for you.
Yeah. This is all to say that get rid of your vertical or your horizontal blinds and, take them off.
And don't
nicely.
date anyone that installs them ever.
I'm sure they're very nice. But anyway, and then instead you replace them with nicer curtains. And I'll tell you something else that looks really nice. We have rattan shades, that go up and down. And we didn't spend a fortune on them. Actually, we went to Lowe's and where you just take your measurement in and they custom cut them for you. And they take like 10 minutes to put up. And because we don't have any neighbors around, you don't have to worry about them. They're sort of, I would say you could probably see a little through them, but not much. But they're a really nice look and they'll look beautiful on your windows and really upgrade the look of your apartment or your rental.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about. Visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order.
Well, and you know what else you can do to really upgrade the look of your apartment or your rental is, again, we've talked about things that you're going to be able to take with you. So we're really talking about accessorizing furniture, things that are in the room. So this is when you can add lots of pattern, lots of interest with pillows, with throws. And that's our favorite way to change out a look in a room anyway. And I just want to mention that today on our shop.decoratingtipsandtricks.com, I've got a wonderful collection of some French inspired pillows. So check those out. That might work in your home. And even if those don't work out, still any kind of pillow, I think is going to, kind of your favorite pillows are really going to change up the look of the room. So that's something you can do.
Good idea. How about art? You might have prints or paintings or things that are special to you and you're worried about making holes in the wall. Well, resting them on a mantle, if you're lucky enough to have a fireplace, that's a great way. You don't have to put a hole in the wall at all, or rest the art on shelves, or use those command hooks that Yvonne gave us a lesson on.
I love those
episodes.
And here's another place you can use your art or some type of a personal picture gallery. A lot of rentals that have stairs really have ugly stairs. So, you can't rip out the carpeting that's on it or lay new carpeting on it or change the banister, things like that. But you can lift your eye up and away from that by putting a lovely wall art gallery going up your stairs.
Yeah.
And just use those 3M command strips because they do hold things very well. Let's just run down. I said about radiators. Now, even in my daughter's old house, her house is over 100 years old on Capitol Hill, you can paint your radiators the color of your wall and it sort of recesses it, or put a shelf over it, or even make a radiator cover with shelves as well. Those are easy ways. They don't cost a lot of money and they make a very big difference in how things look.
I wanted to mention that today's episode was inspired by Janet G. Janet, we just want to thank you from our bottom of all three of our hearts for your beautiful email that you sent over the weekend. And you cannot even imagine how good it made us feel to read it and know that we are with you. And we're so happy you're with us listening and that you had these great ideas for episodes and you're moving on to a new chapter in your life. So we hope that our ideas for renting and personalizing a temporary space have really helped you and helped others. It's been so much fun today. Thank you for indulging me with my long story about vertical blinds. My mom, if I say vertical blinds to my mom and I, we just start cracking up. So maybe next time you see some vertical blinds, it'll make you laugh too. Remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Hey, everybody, we want to thank you so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. And we want to make it even easier for you to listen. And it's easier if you subscribe. You just click the subscribe button on our website, www.decoratingtipsandtricks.com, or you can subscribe through Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast listeners. When you subscribe, DTT comes free right to you 3 days a week. So until next time.